It's midterm season, and that can only mean one thing. Hi, first name. I think it's bad when bad people do stuff. That's why I'm running for Nebraska's 2,472nd district. Can you chip in $5 to help me get to 10,000 Twitter followers? Paid for by some billionaire/fund. In our top story tonight, President Biden is canceling some student loan debt. And as someone who paid off her student loans, I am outraged at how unfair it is that these poor, predatory student loan corporations won't be able to get more millions of dollars to go with their other millions of dollars. It's just not fair to those giant corporations. Senator Rick Scott criticized President Biden for vacationing in Delaware right before he hopped on a plane to vacation in Italy. It's a clear case of do as I say, not as I'm about to do as soon as my private jet gets here. All right, I suppose we ought to check up on Trump world, which is never boring, no matter how much we wish it were so. Trump is sitting on a $120 million campaign war chest, and some GOP members are like, "Money, please," because they want money for their own campaigns. Trump responded by pretending not to hear the request. "You want honey for your champagne? Sounds weird, but go for it." Notorious Coke lover, no, not that kind, Donald Trump Jr. says it would be a good thing if his father still had the nuclear codes.
I'd say that if Donald Trump actually still had the nuclear codes, it'd probably be good.
Well, as long as we're letting people with no impulse control have the nuclear codes, why not these guys? This just in, bitchy old white guys, Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump, traded verbal jabs this week. And while the Friday Fenix would never condone solving disputes through violence, maybe just this one time? I got $20 says Melania bets against Donald, and $100 says they both start by punching the referee and trying to bribe a judge. Donald Trump wants a special master to review the documents seized from Mar-a-Lago, preferably this one. Kansas's overwhelming vote against restricting abortion laws was affirmed in a recount. What a great way to spend American dollars. If the original sponsors of the bill had their way, the only legal way to terminate a pregnancy would be long after the third trimester when the child finds an unsecured handgun. A GOP representative is rethinking his stance on abortion after hearing about a young woman's ordeal.
I voted for that bill. These are affecting people.
Oh, really? It's affecting people? Actual people? Wait, are women people? William and Kate have decided to move their kids out of London to give them a normal life. Their great-grandma's corgis fart diamonds. I think the normal life ship has sailed. Scientists at NASA have been able to hear a black hole. Let's take a listen.
We've been trying to reach you concerning your car's extended warranty.
In the climate is still screwed news, various hunger stones, which typically were warnings of dire times in the past, have been revealed because of drought conditions in Europe. Here in the US, we've also found a hunger stone. Oh wow, I didn't realize they had Comic Sans back then. But it's tough everywhere. In Texas, a riverbed has dried up so much that the tracks of dinosaurs that died millions of years ago are resurfacing. And in Florida, sharks have begun walking on land, both consequences of climate change. Now, do you really want to be alive during the age of fucking walking sharks and Jurassic Park? Not me. Let's get those meteors raining, please. Crack open whatever diseases are hiding under permafrost and rub it on my skin because I think no the hell not. And on top of this horror show, scientists have asked, can spiders dream? Of what? How to make me shit my pants in the middle of the night? How to make their webs even more invisible horrors to walk through? Imagine a long day of scavenging scraps of food in whatever post-apocalyptic hell we find ourselves in like 5 years or so, dodging dinosaurs and walking fucking sharks, can't stress that one enough, to walk into a sentient spider's web. What do you even say? Oh, sorry, I just demolished your house on accident? Do you go in for a handshake? Which hand do you shake? I am simply not equipped to navigate this fucking hell world. YouTuber Tad Park, who is no longer in the running for Father of the Year, decided to try out his Tesla's ability to not run over children by trying to run over his children. YouTube responded by taking the video down for showing the endangerment of a minor. When Elon Musk was reached for comment, he claimed to be 80% certain those weren't his children. The world breathed a collective sigh of relief this week at Mark Zuckerberg's announcement of better graphics coming to the Metaverse. All the cancer scientists had a press conference and said, no, definitely work on that. That's important stuff. Let's talk about work, specifically doing it at an office. As more and more companies make the extremely popular call to fill their real estate investments with the wretched souls of the burnt out, employees have responded by filing petitions at places like Apple asking, could we not? Employees who are being forced back into the office are getting their pandemic pets a pet to keep them occupied during the day. This has already led to a spike in tiny laptops for cats. Not now, subcat. Mama's got emails to send. Every fucking article right now is about quiet quitting. But what is it? And how is it different from regular quitting? Our career coach, Jen Haston, is here to break it down for us. Thanks for being here, Jen.
Thanks for having me, Andrea. So quiet quitting means just doing your regular job and going home at the end of the day. Pretty revolutionary, am I right? And that's different from regular quitting, which is what teachers are doing after being paid like shit to be punching bags since forever.
Right, and then there's also close to quitting, where you show up to work dressed way nicer than normal and take a 2-hour lunch break.
Of course. And let's not forget about consultant quitting, where you quit your day job and call yourself a consultant, which is kind of like being unemployed, except that it sounds way better.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you've heard of McQuitting, where instead of a resignation letter on your boss's desk, you leave 14 regular chicken nuggets or 10 business nuggets.
I have heard of that, and I've also heard of abdiquitting the throne, which is when you quit your job so you can marry a commoner.
We've all been there, am I right? And another method that's really hitting its stride thanks to TikTok is quitting fried steak, which is when you quit your job after being beaten down, dredged in flour, and pan-fried.
A great method, to be sure. But one of my favorites is actually the opposite of quiet quitting, which is loud quitting. And that sounds like this. Fuck all y'all! Except Janice. Janice is cool. We out. Hope that clears things up.
It sure does. Thanks for your expertise, Jen. Chief Diplomacy Officer Dennis Rodman, or a very convincing pufferfish and drag, is headed to Russia to spring Brittany Griner from the pokey. Oh, this just in? Dennis Rodman is now imprisoned in Russia. But I have a better idea. Instead of sending Dennis Rodman over there, why not send Donald Trump? Seriously, he either uses his friendship with Putin to free her, thus winning the black lesbian vote he has for some reason had trouble with, or he joins her in jail and saves Merrick Garland the paperwork. And I don't think the U.S. has an extradition treaty with Russia, so win-win-win for everyone. Georgia's Senate candidate, Herschel Walker, is refusing an October debate with opponent Raphael Warnock because it would be on a Thursday, and Walker is worried that it would conflict with NFL games on Sunday. Look, I know tailgating starts earlier and earlier these days, but this is getting ridiculous. 2 Oakland A's fans were caught in the middle of a sexual act during a game last week. Given the A's poor record, it was difficult to believe the man was able to get excited during the game, but his girlfriend's head-first slide allowed him to score more than the A's have done this season. In fairness to the couple, there are few places more empty than the Oakland Coliseum during an A's game. And finally tonight, this fall, the University of Texas is offering a class based on the songs of Taylor Swift. Students will learn that if you have a net worth of $400 million, you can do whatever the fuck you want. That wraps up this week's episode of the Friday Fenix. Join us next week because there's always more news to peruse.
Your efforts are valid, but I don't think you can step up to the challenge. Your efforts are valid, but I don't think you can step up to the challenge.